Wednesday, January 20. Ruth. Rather than talking about vast enemy armies that threaten God's people, the story of Ruth speaks about something smaller, a family almost dying out, but instead being revived. While it includes two large themes, God's creation being destroyed and his people being under threat, Ruth also tells of the great controversy on a personal level, where it is in reality always being waged. It is no surprise that the land of Judah suffered a famine during the time of the judges. This was a sign that the people of the covenant had forsaken God. Sin and rebellion had reduced the land flowing with milk and honey to a barren dust bowl. But in the book of Ruth, God visited the land and put his life back into it, giving them bread again, as recorded in Ruth chapter 1, verse 6. When Elimelech, his wife Naomi, and their two sons first went to Moab, they did so because they wanted a future. The land of the enemy gave temporary relief, but with a husband and two sons dead, Naomi finally decided to go back home. Question. Read Ruth chapter 1 and verse 8 and 16 and 17. What is the significance of Ruth wanting to go with Naomi? Ruth chapter 1 and verse 8. And Naomi said to her two daughters-in-law, Go, return each to their mother's house. The Lord deal kindly with you as you have dealt with the dead and with me. But Ruth said, Entreat me not to leave you or to turn back from following after you. For wherever you go, I will go, and wherever you lodge, I will lodge. Your people shall be my people, and your God my God. Where you die, I will die, and there will I be buried. The Lord do so to me, and more also, if anything but death parts you and me. Ruth was from an enemy nation that had on many occasions tried to destroy Israel, but she chose to identify with God's people and worship their God. In addition, she found favour in the eyes of her adopted homeland, not just in Boaz, but also by the people who knew of her. Boaz was confident that she also found favour in God's eyes, and taking his admiration for her a step further, he agreed to marry her. However, there was a closer relative than Boaz who had first claim to the land of the dead man if he married Ruth. The nearer relative was not interested in another wife, however, because it complicated his financial plans. At this point, the assembly of witnesses blessed Ruth, likening her to the great women of Israel's history, as recorded in Ruth chapter 4, verse 11 and 12, which was fulfilled when she became a forebearer of the Messiah. Talk about a living happily ever after story. Unfortunately, there aren't too many of those outside of the Bible either. Of course, there are not too many of those in life. Here too, though, we can see how, despite the ebb and flow of life, God's will shall prevail in the end. And that's good news for all who love and trust him.